All right, all right, all right. This is the Diamondgeezers with Carlos, Vin, Peter, yours truly, Ray, and a very special guest, optimistic Mets fan.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody today?
Joining us in your home away from home where the game never gets old. Welcome, Frank.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome.
Boy, that was an enthusiastic welcome for Frank, I tell you.
Vinny, do
So
You had a whole intro ready for him, we thought.
I'm going to read the intro now.
There we go.
Frank, better known on TikTok and YouTube and other social media platforms as Optimistic Met Fan, although Frank, we don't understand why, is one of those most recognizable and relentlessly positive voices in Mets fandom, while most of the baseball internet lives on outrage and doom. Frank has carved out his lane by doing the opposite, breaking down Mets baseball with humor, honesty, and an unwavering belief that this is the year. He reacts in real time, lives and dies at every pitch, and somehow keeps the faith through blown saves, cold streaks, and April overreactions. Welcome, Frank, to the Diamondgeezers.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. So thoughts on...
by the way, I think we're a lot of outrage, but we're not really the best at doing cool.
So Frank, do you have you have it on YouTube? Let's just promote your thing. Do you have it on YouTube?
You can catch the Optimistic Met Fan podcast, the live shows and recorded episodes on YouTube. I also have a TikTok account, and I just recently opened up an X account. So
awesome.
Follow along for all your optimistic Met fan news. I know it sometimes is gloom and doom with the Mets, but I try to put a positive spin on every topic. So just come in and enjoy the show.
You do.
What made you get started? What made you?
A shout out to the Locked On Mets podcast. I started watching those. This is around spring training of last season. After that amazing run in 2024, I started listening to more podcasts, and then I just thought, hey, why not me? I always have interesting things to talk about, and I talk my friends' head offs about all interesting Met topics, how we got Juan Soto, how we got really deep into the Mets farm system. So then I just wanted to inform people that we got a lot of great things coming. So
and it finally coming to fruition too. So that's good. Now we're just trading them away. That's all.
Yeah, I know. We had to let go of Jet. That was a guy I did a deep dive with. Little disappointed to see him go, but really excited to see Freddie Peralta be a Met. We definitely needed an ace, I think. So now we see what him and Nolan McLean can do for the Mets, and hopefully we're going in the right direction. So
let's get right into things here. Let's talk about some of the topics we're going to talk about in this podcast. So we're getting a little fancy, Frank. We've never been this fancy before, but we're doing this because of you. We're trying to impress you.
Trying to impress you, buddy.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, we'll never do it again. So
we'd impress him more if we just let him do it this by himself instead of having us on it. So you might actually lose.
That's true. We might just leave at some point. You take over. Past week in review. So here's our topics for today. We're going to be talking about this little rocky moment here. Did the Mets and Yankees answer the bell? I would have put David Stern's face on Rocky, given how he's beaten up over the past.
I think he deserves the credit, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely. Did the Mets? Yeah, so we're going to talk about the moves and trades and everything that's happened over the past week or two and see where the Mets and Yankees are at today. Then we're going to move on to new problem, players out of position. And I couldn't help it, guys. I had to put Aaron Judge dropping that ball in center field.
We'll pay for that before this podcast is over.
Nice New Year's Eve picture that you have up there.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Frank. So we're going to talk about are there any positional problems that the Mets and the Yankees, as Carlos will get to, might encounter this year. And then the last thing we're going to go over is, of course, the impending lockout and whether high AAV opt-out contracts that are being signed, is that a short-term trend because of the lockout, or is it something that's going to be a new model going forward? So with that, why don't we start with the first topic. So, Carlos, you want to talk about this past week's events?
Yeah, there's this team, the New York Metropolitans. They were a little busy. Let's see. They signed some dude called Bo Bichette. I mean, he could have been before the first name. They made a trade with the White Sox, right? They got Luis. How you say that name, Vinny? Luis
Robert.
Jr. So long, Luis Angel Cuna and Truman Pauly.
Low level arm.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was a low level.
And they got, and the Mets got Freddie Peralta. Yay, you bastards! They traded away Brandon Deep Sprout and Jet Williams.
Wow.
Wow, he's not even a Met anymore. He's still throwing that in there.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, aren't you a little concerned, like losing a little depth at shortstop? But anyway,
We got 74 more.
Yeah.
and the Yankees finally got America's nightmares finally over. Yankees signed some dude named Cody Bellinger. So,
You're welcome.
gentlemen, yes. Praise Uncle Steve. So, well, the Mets had big. So let's start off. I mean, who's gonna go first with all this Met?
Why don't you start, Mr. Optimistic Met fan?
So, all right. So, like Carlos mentioned, we did sign. Well, this was last week that it started. The week that was with the New York Mets, we did sign Bo Bichette to a 3-year deal, $42 million for the first year with an opt-out included, I think, in the second and third year of the contract. I know a lot of Met fans are kind of worried about that. We did make a trade for Luis Robert. I thought that was a great trade for the Mets. We didn't really give up a lot. I know everybody was disappointed with Luis Angel Acuna not being a Met anymore, even though, and you Yankee fans are going to love this one, I was not a fan of him. I thought he was just a defensive base running guy, not a real guy that's going to do a lot for the Mets other than just be on the bench with the way the roster is constructed. So I thought that was a great trade. Truman Pauly, as Carlos also mentioned, was from St. Point Lucie. He was a guy who we drafted last season, I think, in the 12th round. So didn't really give up a lot in that trade. Change of scenery type of thing for Luis Robert. And then, we made that mega trade for Freddie Peralta. Also, a throw-in that trade, I think, is why Jet Williams got included in the trade, was because we gave up. We actually included Tobias Myers. He entering his third year. If any Met fan remembers, that was Game 3 of the 2024 Lockout series. He pitched 5 shutout innings against us. This kid is really impressive. I think he's the X factor in that trade that a lot of people aren't talking about. But I thought I'd bring that up because everybody's talking about Freddie, but don't sleep on Tobias Myers. I think it was a great week for the Amazons, and now let's just see how it plays out.
And I don't know if you guys caught that, but the 3 guys that the Mets faced in that famous Alonso home run off of Devin Williams to put the Mets into the next round, those 3 pitchers are the 3 guys that they're on that team now.
Yeah.
Tobias, Devin Williams, and Peralta.
Yeah.
That's almost, I mean, if you go back in time, Pete knows maybe, and Carlos would too. In the old days, when Steinbrenner liked the guy into the team, or that guy was a Yankee killer, he would somehow figure out a way to trade for the guy and put him on the Yankees. So it's a little Steinbrenner-esque move that David Stearns pulled off here.
You guys are really feeling it this week, huh? You're really feeling it, huh?
Just saying. But, look, the Yankees did something nice. They signed Mr. Bellinger.
Yes, the Yankees did this amazing thing. They got back to exactly where they were last year.
Oh, God.
Yay! We're the same.
You're better. You are better.
No, the same.
We're staying on the Mets for a second.
Please.
So, that whole, defensive, runs prevented, thing that Stearns ended last year with. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm fine with the deals. Okay. But, Luis Robert is a good center fielder. Could be a very good center fielder. That's good. I think that was important, especially if you're going to let Carson Bench, or whatever the hell his name is, get a crack in left field. So that's good. But it's a little, and I think Bo Bichette will be fine at third base. Yeah, but Polanco it's a little, I don't know. contradictory to the runs prevented approach that Stearns wanted. I don't know what you guys think, but
Are you asking me
no,
questions?
Pete, I definitely agree. But I actually wanted to bring something up. A lot of people, this actually goes to show my age. You guys wanted to know that. I was part of, I was the youth movement in 99 and 2000. I just did some episodes about those seasons. We had a guy named Todd Zeal. Now, Todd Zeal wasn't a first baseman in 2000. And all you got to do is catch the ball at first base. I think I'm not that optimistic about Jorge Polanco playing there 162 games. I hope he's not. But I actually have some moves that I think the Mets could make to fix that. And also, we do have a guy in AAA called Ryan Clifford. So hopefully he can come up at some point. I know the Mets are trying to go with the kids. Maybe that was David Stearns' plan all along to maybe not overpay Pete because he had this guy coming up in the wings. I mean,
I don't know, Mr. Optimistic Met fan. I take offense at that comment about first base. Pete and I
Raise a first base.
Here's what I'll say. Okay, and I heard an interview with Carlos Mendoza about this. While there's in terms of playing that position at a minimum level to be competent, I would agree. At a minimum level, if you're like sort of you want to be a 4 in Stratomatic, then yes, you basically have to put the foot in the bag and catch the ball. Okay, everything. But in order to be, the Keith Hernandez, I think Keith Hernandez did a lot more. I think you would admit that Keith Hernandez did a lot more than that at first base.
Oh,
right?
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
And when you have somebody that's a superior defensive first baseman, it helps the whole infield. John Olerud helped make that infield the great infield it was. But my question is, didn't Stearns start off saying he wants to improve defensively? And I think at his press conference, somebody asked him, you said you wanted to improve defensively, yet you have a guy playing first base for the first time, you got playing third base for the first time. And he sort of danced around it by saying, which I agree, that some guys are just athletic and they could handle the positions. Any thoughts on that by anybody? Vin, you've been pretty quiet.
Well, because
I saw you go like this too.
We seem to be talking a lot about the second topic, which
I'm trying to find a way to say
the first topic.
Right.
So
I
am going to bring us back.
All right, we'll go back. We'll get to that in a second. Sorry.
Because I'm going to actually give Stearns, this is the credit where I want to give him this week. It's two things that I say, that I thought of. One, there was a lot of stuff in the offseason about, there was this discourse in the locker room that came out. A lot of it came out after the season. And he not only removed those guys through trades or just letting them go, he then replaced them with good clubhouse guys, but gamers, players. Simeon, Polanco, Bichette. I don't know so much about Robert, but he never came off as, especially being in Chicago, you never really heard anything about him, and that team was as dreadful as it gets. So by doing that, being able to improve your team and get rid of, and then Pete, you brought this up on the previous, I think it was last week. If there is more clubhouse stuff, then you start looking at maybe Lindor. If you keep hearing Lindor or somebody else, now you start looking internally, because he, in theory, got rid of the guys who were kind of causing this discontent and improved the clubhouse culture and the team at the same time. The second thing is, which we talked about for months, he got off his assets. Well, you like that? He got off his assets.
Wow, this is the wittiness that the Diamondgeezers.
That's what we bring. He got off his assets. Luis Angel. Yep, you got him in. I think it was it the Scherzer trade that they got him from the Rangers? He highly touted who his brother is. He wasn't going to be his brother. He never was. Move him along for that's a really low key trade. Robert's he was injured a little bit last year, but Ray and I discussed this. He had a huge July last year before he got hurt. That's a really, and he brings an additional speed element to the team that you guys were speed and power element. But the moving of Jet Williams, how many times did we say, put him at second base, put him at center field? Now he's gone, and you move Sproat for an ace. Now, the only concern I've been hearing, and this is where I want to get from the Met fans, and Carlos, of course, you as well, as someone who really in secret loves the Mets,
that's true. Finally, somebody called him for it.
A lot of people have been saying, well, you got Peralta, but is that a 1 year kind of? Does this contract run out at the end of the year? So you traded away two highly touted prospects, one a pitching arm and one a bat, for a guy that obviously nobody knows what's going to happen in the future, especially with a lockout cap. Who knows? And we'll get to that later in the episode. But that's the only thing. People have given kudos for the move because you needed to upgrade the rotation. And I still think Framber's out there for you guys, and we might get into that. He cost himself a lot of money with that cross-up pitch. I can tell you that much right now. But that's the only negative I've heard about the moves. I think they're great. I think it shows he had a plan, just let him play it out. And you're watching it play out in real time. And you got to give him the credit where credit is due. He's the new boy wonder.
Let me just say two things real quick, and then one is I've been ranting, you guys know, since the beginning. It's like 75 guys who play shortstop. It's like we keep having these assets. You got to move them. So move them or bring them up, right? So either you give Jet Williams.
Or else they're not assets anymore. They're just nothing.
Right. Then they're just sitting there, and then next thing you know, there's Spencer Jones, 29 years old, still waiting for a call up. But the thing
24, almost 25.
Nice. I like that, Pete. Nice little day.
I'm just saying we should start a clock, but we should do a calendar.
The thing
I don't think he doesn't exist. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's an AI generated player. So the thing is so I love the idea. Look, I think Acuna has been doing a nice job in the Dominican Republic, and so I think that helped his trade value. And we didn't pay.
I think it was the Venezuelan league, by the way.
Sorry?
I think it was the Venezuelan league.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
That's nice.
That's nice.
We just lost our Venezuelan and Dominican audience.
So I love the idea. I too wanted them to hold on to Jet Williams, a little bit. The other, but I get it. You got to pay for something, right? I understand. The other thing about it, to your point about it's only a 1 year thing. Here's the nice thing about having an owner that's willing to spend. I'm not overly concerned. If Peralta wants to stay here and we want him to stay, we'll pay him the money. Do you know what I'm saying? So Skubal, I was worried about because it was going to cost us so much more.
Right.
Okay. This was not going to be just sign him to a reasonable guy. It's going to be the highest paid pitcher. I understood why. It went into a whole stratosphere that is outside of Stearns' comfort zone, where I think Peralta, their relationship, this, that, I'm not worried. He makes $8 million this year. Whatever he's going to want when the lockout is over, whatever happens. I'm comfortable that if we want him, we'll pay him. So and it didn't cost us.
That goes to Stearns, I guess, and we can talk about that again in the third topic. His penchant for not wanting to give long deals to starters, especially Peralta. I think he'll be 31 going into 2027. So I think he's 30 this year.
He'll turn 30 this year, right?
So he's turning 30 this year. Yeah.
So he'll be 31 going into what would be his new contract. So.
Right.
And we'll get into that in the third topic when we start talking about the AAV. Go ahead, Carlos.
No, after you're done, Vin.
I am done.
Oh, okay. Oh, excuse me. Well, me being a secret Met fan and everything, I have respect for you. I want to add to this. I'll tell a little story now. It's all going to tie back to this, to the Mets thing here, the Stern and the prospect situation. So, Vin, do you remember August 13th, 2016?
Like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought so too. Aaron Judge makes his Yankee debut. It's going to tie back.
I was thinking of Tyler Austin.
Don't jump in. Spoilers. See, he ruined it for me because you suck.
Inside Yankee stuff. I have no idea what the hell that's.
Let me explain. Aaron Judge in his first at bat hits a 446 home run. Right, amazing, right? But it was actually historic because his teammate Tyler Austin also hit a home run in his first at bat. It's the first time rookies went back to back. Hit a home run in their first at bat.
Belly to belly.
Belly to belly.
Right?
I can't wait to hear how this ties into.
Yeah, I know.
That's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
Is that
No. So everyone's excited.
I think Frank fell asleep right now, guys.
No. I'm just letting you guys go a little bit.
So everyone's excited. It was the baby bombers and everything. It was gonna be a whole new dynasty. Well, guess what? Tyler Austin basically sucked. He has maybe 500 big league at bats. He spent 6 years in Japan. You move your prospects. It's 50-50. You take your best shot, and that's what Stearns did. You move them. You don't try to hold on to them like Spencer Jones would take crack at. Sometimes everything is just all hype. You take your shot. If you can get a player, a proven commodity that can help you now, even if you're not ready yet, they can help you get to the next level. It was not afraid, unlike the Yankees, evidently, to trade their prospects and stuff. They don't do you any good staying in the organization if they're not going to play.
Well,
That's
we
what I'm
will
saying.
see.
And then we went over this just real quick. We went over this a few weeks ago where we discussed the odds of success in the major leagues by minor league players. And I think the number was 10 to 15% of all players drafted make it to the major leagues.
There you go.
Become successful.
The
percentage goes up in the first round players, but even then it's only at 70%, which means 3 out of every 10 guys, 3 of those guys are not going to make it to the major leagues and become successful. So to that point, Carlos, you're right. But I think it's a timing thing, right? Like if this is the fit, if this is the guy to get to put you over the top, then you make the
to
deal.
get you there. I mean,
And this is honestly, Ray, this is what I'm hopeful for as a Yankee fan, because if all Yankee fans know, Cashman is more comfortable dealing. He's not so much with the because they're weird with their free agent stances that they take, but he's better at wheeling and dealing. So the thought now is he was waiting to see what was going to happen with Bellinger. So if Bellinger comes in, that now makes Jones or maybe a Dominguez expendable, so that you can now start packaging them together. And what they go to get, I don't know. I've been reading this week potentially Joe Ryan was someone they were looking at. So I don't know what they're looking to do. But now let's see what's next. And the same thing for the Mets. What's next? Is it going to be bullpen help? Is it going to be going after another arm?
Well, so I wanted to ask.
We'll see.
Frank.
Well,
that's what I was throwing at you.
Okay. Well, do you think, Frank, that Peralta is the ace that we needed? And just to follow up what Vinny said.
Well, my plan or my idea was for the Mets to actually get Peralta, because I noticed the connection with him and Stearns. Fun fact, this is the second time that Stearns has traded for Peralta. I don't know if you guys knew that. He came in a trade
until last week.
Brewers when the Brewers traded Adam Lind to Seattle.
Yeah.
That's a throwback name.
And that, yeah, right. You like that? And I was reading that article, and they said that it's like full circle. Now he's trading for him again once he's fully developed. So I do believe that Peralta may re-sign with the Mets. I mean, I know that's still up in the air. I know they don't like giving out contracts, but think about this rotation. If you already have, in my opinion, the ace already on the team, and Nolan McLean, who just needs more reps and maybe not the pressure. Now you have Freddie Peralta, who's the guy who could take that on. Now you have at least 2 guys at the top. Then you talk about guys like Clay Holmes. I know everybody knows how good he was for the Mets as, a gamble last year. I like him in the rotation. I like David Peterson, who I know fell off at the end of the All-Star break, but before that, he was the Mets' best pitcher. So, now you look at even other guys that are going to be free agents next year before the lockout, guys like Tarek Skubal. Imagine that rotation if we can re-sign Freddie Peralta and then go in a bidding war, which I think every Met fan would be comfortable with, going after Tarek Skubal. Now you're talking about competing with the Dodgers. This year, you can't really think that way. You got to think of, let's get back on track because of the disappointment of 2025. But as far as like Carlos's point of all the prospects, David Stearns is holding a lot of cards right now at, this year's trade deadline with all the top prospects that he has. It depends what they'll do with left field. Are you going to go with a rookie like Carson Benj, or are you going to go with, I had an idea of the Mets making another trade for an outfielder.
Go for it, because we know that Stearns listens to us.
Well, hopefully he does. I mean,
a lot of people do.
Vinny
like
spends the week telling us about this guy followed us, and it's I don't know, whatever.
I don't hear it until after we say it. So
that's true.
And Frank, who's the trade? Who are we getting?
So I had a trade proposal, but one of the guys already got traded, so I can't say Sproat. So I'll have to get creative. but I'll give you my my prospect knowledge here. I still think we don't have space for Ronnie Mauricio. So hear me out on this one. I know a lot of Met fans still like him. I still too. I think he
Stearns
has,
loves him. Stearns loves the guy.
When someone
future.
says "hear me out," I already know that you're going to try to rob the other team. So go for
Oh
it.
no. I think he could be a good fit for the Cleveland Guardians. And who I want in return, now we could even add a little bit more if you wanted to, but I like Stephen Kwan playing left field. I think he could be a really good leadoff hitter. It could make the Mets lineup even more deeper if you push Lindor down and Soto down to the 2 and 3 spot, having Stephen Kwan lead off and play left field, having that Gold Glove defense. Now you're looking at an outfield of Kwan, Robert, and Soto.
Now,
I know that
I can tell you right now.
I know that hinders Carson Bench a little bit, but
that right.
You know,
if that trade happens,
the problem,
then we know for sure that Stearns is listening to us.
Yeah.
Here's my question
Go ahead,
to Mike and Ray, and then we can move on to the Yankees for a minute. Opening day is tomorrow. Who's the opening day starter for the Mets?
Where? Oh, the starter?
Oh, pitching wise.
Peralta.
Yeah, who's the opening day starter?
Probably Peralta.
Yeah, easy.
I think it just look. We talked about this when you get a Peralta. Look, if I'd even put Manaea or Pete, I'd put McLean third because most threes you're facing won't come close to matching him. So that gives you an advantage where you don't have to have him matching up against other people's aces, but performing like an ace. That's a huge advantage now that the Mets have by getting and they're not done. I'm sorry. Look, this is all you need to know about the state of where the Mets are in this whole hierarchy. Because all Yankee fans, when Bellinger wasn't signed, was saying they're fucking going to get Bellinger too. We all were saying that they're going to get him too. When it used to be, that's what they'd say about the Yankees. Oh, the Yankees going to get this guy too. There were a lot of Yankee fans were like, "Yep, he's going there. He's going to take the higher money, shorter contract, and then there's your left field first baseman."
What do you want to say, Frank? Frank, you were going to say something?
Just to hit on that point, so Vin, you think the Mets are still in on Valdez?
100%. 100%. That guy's contract right now.
I just don't like that.
Personally, it's and I want to get your guys' opinion. Because that's all they've been saying. We've said it. Another thing we've said that cross-up pitch cost him money, and now
stop topping our show.
Give it or just drop a like. Give us credit. Just say these old guys who are saying this. Yeah, just say something. Give us a little credit. Yeah. We've been saying this about Valdez, and I think right now it's almost a little bit of saving face with. All right, I know I'm not going to get what I wanted, but I got to kind of because right now who's standing? Him and what? Zach Gallen.
I like Zach Gallen a little bit better, at least attitude-wise. Like we said, the clubhouse. I mean, you mentioned it at the top of the show. And these good character guys.
Peralta's also a great clubhouse guy. Ray, that was a great video you posted.
Valdez, makes me nervous with that. I don't want him coming in and being a problem.
Could be true. That might be if that's a reason.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried about that. His stuff is better than Gallen's, but I just don't. I don't know. It's like a little bit of a gamble.
He's more of a workhorse. And more like health wise, he's more reliable. But I could see a point. That's a great point about his. If that's why they're not signing him, why do you want to bring that into your clubhouse?
And on the Bellinger signing, the Yankees do anything else? I'm not.
They claimed Marco Luciano, I think.
Oh well, there you go.
And Max Ciani, a all glove no hit.
Oh wait! Just I got Tyler Austin update. He signed with the Cubs.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Really?
I think he was raking in Korea for the last 3 4
years.
Yeah,
he's been Japanese league for the past 6 years. Yeah.
So
no,
they didn't do anything. They really didn't have to. That honestly, was the move. That was the move was sitting there all year.
And I hate that again because I keep saying it's the same. You're just the same. I mean, I think this Yankee
similar.
I think it's done.
It's similar, but here's the thing, Ray, and why I know Ray, they're slightly better.
It's just not. Statistically,
it's
you're
not
wrong.
the move. It's not
Ray.
The move.
What people are saying is everybody else looks like they got markedly better. At least the competitors. And really quickly, I looked up the odds for winning the World Series. I can't believe Vegas has Philly over the Mets after all these moves. I don't understand it.
Not only that, their own former GM said that the Braves and the Phillies are better than
I don't see what they're
saying. Steve Phillips.
Yeah. I don't see it. I don't know what they're seeing that I'm missing, but I think that'll play itself out on the field. But now go ahead. I don't want to talk.
No, I was going to say for Frank on the Bell. So the debate we've been having here amongst us is that you know, getting Bellinger back. I think that Vinny and Carlos's position is that they're the same. They're not the same.
Slightly better.
We believe they're not even slightly better.
Well,
because they're going to have Cole for, I think he's going to come back before June, but they're going to have Cole for the full year. They're going to have a closer for the full year. They're going to have, well, you had a crappy closer the first half of the year. We took him off your hands. So I'm just, I can go on. You have a first baseman. You had a first baseman that couldn't even hit 15 home runs.
Yeah. What was that, Frank?
Devin Williams, his lifetime ERA is about an ERA lower than Diaz's. Just want to bring that up.
Look at that.
Yeah. No, the guys are stud. Which Williams are going to get.
I think the Yankees made a mistake not keeping Luke Weaver, but thank you for that.
I agree. But, their first baseman, they're going to have Rice there. He's going to blow away whatever Goldschmidt did at first base.
Oh, I love Ben Rice. Even on the Mets.
So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Frank,
what's your opinion?
I think what their point is, as an outside observer to the Yankees, I think their point is you're seeing all the back page news with the Mets, and all the Yankees did was bring back Cody Bellinger. Now the Yankees could still be in on. Well, they did get Weathers too. That started.
That's right.
Yeah. I know it's not as pardon the term, it's not as sexy as what the Mets did, but we had a lot more holes to fill. So, I mean, to give the respect to the Yankees had a full rotation. They have a full lineup. You could argue maybe they have questions in left field. Not anymore because you just re-signed Cody Bellinger. So I could see a big trade coming with the Yankees maybe because
for third baseman?
No.
I was surprised that the Yankees weren't in on Alex Bregman, to be honest with you.
We covered this. He had horrible career numbers at the Yankee Stadium. Plus, they weren't gonna. I don't think they were dropping the money on him and Bellinger. Yeah, and Frank, I appreciate the tap on the head while you were giving the Mets the kudos for all the signings. So the Yankees did a little something.
The Benny Hill tap on the head.
I'm actually more looking at and just all the contenders have made themselves. You can see markedly better, and the Yankees it was a little status quo. To date, I mean, yes, there's still time for moves to be made, but to date, it's a little status quo. Ray, I get your point. Cole, and you keep saying he's going to come back sooner. Everything I'm seeing says All-Star break. So
did he pitch last year?
No.
All right, well then that's it. I mean, come on. And I went Cole. I went Rice. Thank you, Frank. For
Rice also did hit 20.
Weathers replaces Stroman,
right? Rice was on the team last year.
Plus, you're going to get a full year.
You know what it is that the Yankee fans, unless they have like a super set of superstars and guaranteed playoff team, then they're horrible.
I'm sorry. That's what you guys are doing now. That's not us.
Wait, hold on. Can we go back to one thing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What the fuck is Steve Phillips' logic that we're third behind?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. He said, Pete, he not only said that, but then he actually made a dig at the Mets, saying, I don't think they're improved at all. It's just something absurd. He's got a
great head of hair, but there's a reason he's sitting in a studio.
There you go. Why he hasn't been hired. Yeah. Why he hasn't been hired.
There's a reason for that.
Right.
Because when he said that, I was stunned. I was like, I'm thinking about first thing I said was, what are you seeing that I'm not seeing?
Well, so I'm going to say it. So, see, now this is how I get annoyed.
It makes me defend the Mets, which pisses me off further.
Listen, I understand. Here's the thing. We do not have the same power that we did last year. Okay? We do not have that number 4, that Pete Alonso thing. But this is a better hitting lineup. This
100%. Not even close.
Bichette is, I'll take his 18 to 24 home runs. He's a 330, 2-strike hitter, clutch hitter. He makes the pitch. This is a deeper, more consistent lineup that should be less prone to streaks. And
yes,
That's
that killed us last year, 100%.
Yeah, this is what we said when the Yankees lost Soto. They tried to lengthen the lineup because you can't replace a Soto by himself. That just won't happen. You didn't have to replace Alonso by himself. That lineup is so much longer and deeper than it was last year with Simeon and Bichette and Polanco and Robert. And if Benj lives up to the hype, even halfway there,
have to
in his first season. That's correct. He doesn't have to. He can just kind of. If I'm sorry, the one guy, the wild card, I think everybody's forgetting, Francisco Alvarez.
Yeah.
If it clicks for Alvarez, that's to me that's the wild card. If it clicks for Alvarez finally, where he lives up to the potential we've all seen, now you're talking, really, lofty expectations for this team.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Carlos, why don't you finish this? Finish this.
Met fan.
Yeah, Met fan. Yeah. You bite me. I didn't even I was gonna say. Oh yeah, Ray. It's not about having all the stars, or grabbing the headlines. It's about our topic, answering the damn bell. We got the American League champs are in our division. Okay, we were not good enough to beat them. They beat us handedly. Okay.
You tied for the division.
How do you respond? I'm sorry.
You tied for the division.
They get pennants for ties.
Yeah, but
I don't know. They beat you handily. I mean,
Toronto did dominate them, though, Ray.
Yeah, they dominated them. Yeah. Okay. So you have to, answer the bell, just like you said. Like they're not. They're just right back to where they were, basically. Again, you have to get better.
By the way, Toronto.
They're not marginally better.
Toronto got worse, though.
They're not
marginally. Ray, you're correct. Ray's right.
Toronto got worse. They lost Bichette.
They got Dylan Cease.
Bichette did not. They got Cease, and Bichette did not play the whole year.
You lost an everyday solid third baseman. You're going to roll the dice on this. Was he Korean or Japanese ball player?
Yeah, that was a little weird. I thought he was going to go to a team where he'd play first base. But,
Think about it. They didn't get Tucker. They didn't get Bellinger. So they actually, with money to spend, they didn't get their targets.
Well, they got Cease. That's it.
And they lost Bassett. And people can say what they want about Bassett.
I love Bassett.
Yeah, he's that. You want to talk about you're not going to get stud stuff from him, but you know exactly. And Cease is, you don't know what are you going to get the 2 ERA 1 whip, or are you going to get the 4+ ERA 1.3 whip guy? You'll get the strikeouts either way, but which guy you're going to get, we don't know that. And you also look, I'm coming at Toronto. A lot of people had really great years at the same time, and you should have won the World Series. You were a baseball 1-1 play from winning the World Series, and you didn't. Now you're asking people to, Springer stood healthy most of the year. You're asking for a lot. Oh, here's another thing. I want to stick it to the fucking Toronto fans out there. The ones who came at the Yankees because they held firm on not signing Yamamoto. I don't know if you guys knew this. The Toronto went off on the Yankees a couple of years ago when they didn't want to go past Cole's AAV when they made the offer to Yamamoto. Well, it turns out Toronto did the same fucking thing. They didn't want to go past Guerrero's AAV to sign Tucker. So fuck all of you Toronto fans for that one. Silent on that.
We all just lost our Canada fan.
I don't give a shit. They're the first state anyway.
I know. All three of them. So I will say, in my opinion, that I think the Orioles are the team to watch in that division.
Maybe not next year.
No, I think they underperformed this past year.
A lot of young guys. A lot of young guys still, having to live up to the hype, but that team is definitely built for the long haul. Yeah. They may be in on Valdez too.
Jose Ramirez just extended his contract to age 40. Signed a 7-year, 175.
Hey, Pete, are we bothering you?
Yeah.
No.
Going back to Frank, really quickly, going back to Frank's thing about Kwan, that's not so far-fetched because he's been out there, and they're actually interested in Beatty from what I've heard. Yeah. Cleveland likes Beatty, so I could see Beatty.
See the problem. The problem.
I could see Beatty and someone else.
The problem with Kwan is what that contract is. If it's a multi-year contract that Kwan has already. Yeah, Frank, my worry is that I'm not my worry. I don't think Stearns would do that because he wants to play bench. He wants to play. Then we're going to hear Pete start screaming about, they got these guys starting. We got these young guys. Where are they going to play?
Whoa.
He showed he'll trade him, right?
or you play him.
Yeah.
You don't have him sit there and do nothing. And I like Jet Williams.
Right.
I like giving
Exactly.
Brandon Stroke, but you got to do something to
Hey,
get something. I get it. I'm fine. Having them sit there and never come up.
That's your deadline assets right there. Remember, guys. Everybody thinks just because when the season starts, it's all over.
I think Scooble's getting traded during the
100
deadline this year.
I
I think he's getting free agency.
You're correct.
Even if but not if the Tigers are in it.
Well, you got to hope that the Tigers stink. That's my hope.
Right,
I'm rooting
right.
against the Tigers the first couple of months of the year.
But you know what? This
But also, you know what? Tarek Scooble's pissed off right now.
Well, that's it. Exactly.
Yes.
Is he going to want to stay?
Right.
You know?
I doubt he will. But if he loses that arbitration,
he's not losing that
arbitration.
arbitration.
Sooner
32 million arbitration.
There's no way he's losing that arbitration.
You see the way it works. Apparently, if the arbitrate, he can't find a middle ground.
Yeah.
So if he thinks he's worth
No. I didn't say right. Just to be clear, I never said that.
Go to 19.
No, well, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, the way it works in arbitration is they don't find a middle ground. They have to pick one number or the other. But what they do is they determine which is the number that's the most appropriate number.
Correct.
And the one that's closest to it is the number they go with. That's not the same.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So his number of 32 million is closer to what he deserves.
I agree.
Than 19 million.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
all. Yeah.
Back-to-back Cy Young Award.
All right. So let's move on to the
arbitration. By the way, Quan is arbitration eligible until 2028.
Yeah. You see, yeah.
Oh, there you
So
go.
let's move on to the next topic. We sort of touched upon it before. Thanks, Finn, for getting us out of that mess that we got ourselves into.
I say good.
So, so any thoughts? All right. So we talked about this briefly last week. I don't even believe it. I want to say it anyway. That Stearns started off the day after or the week after the Mets the season was over that they got to improve their defense. But he made two moves that doesn't necessarily improve their defense, which is the first base and third base situation. So is that because he was basically had his arm twisted or hinted at by Mr. Cohen, saying we just got egg on our face by Tucker, and I knew they would piss off you. You got egg on your face by Tucker, so you gotta go out and do something. What do you think, Frank?
You know what? I see a little bit of Wade trying to go with that, Ray.
Thank you, Frank. God bless you, Frank.
Just being nice to you. Right?
However, though, I do think
he now hates you, Frank.
That
he wants to return invite.
I do think that the Tucker situation is kind of interesting, right? Because you saw Thursday night, I'm sitting there on my couch watching a hockey game with the wife, and I get an alert on my phone, like all of us do. Oh, Kyle Tucker's finally going somewhere. And I saw the name, the Dodgers, and I wanted to throw my phone at the TV. Now, I did not expect to wake up Friday morning to Bo Bichette signing with the Mets. Now, my only argument with people that say that this was a pivot, it takes a lot longer than 12 hours to make a pivot. So I honestly think that the Mets were trying to go big or go home and get Tucker plus Bo Bichette. I just think that this whole, maybe 42 million thing for 1 year and the opt-outs was their way of making sure they got Bo Bichette, because you don't want to miss out on both, because then you have egg on your face, right? I mean, it just, I don't know. You can't, a 12-hour pivot, that just doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't a pivot.
With the details in that contract, it seemed like you were talking to Bo Bichette for a while.
I agree. It was not a pivot.
You called it a pivot last week.
Were the words coming out of my mouth there, son?
You come out saying you called it a pivot last week. Now you're changing your position.
No. I don't think it was a pivot in the sense that, oh my God, what are we going to do? Let's overpay for Bo. I think it was in the plan. I think it was plan B. And I think they were able to, I think he was thinking about it the whole way along. Except what's interesting that Frank brought up, I don't know if it's true. Maybe their plan was to get both. And that would surprise me. That would have been a little bit much. But that's not a bad thing. But I don't know. When I say pivot, I mean, had they signed Tucker, my thought was then the Bichette deal is done and they don't do it. Frank might be right. Maybe they were going to do both. But there's no way, to Frank's point, that they woke up, lost Tucker, and said, okay, well, let's just go overpay for Bichette. And I think Bichette.
All right, fine. Let's take your position, right? The impetus, though, to do it. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that the egg in the face happens with Tucker. Bo Bichette is one of the options that they have. We don't know what the other options are. Maybe and Cohen says, "Look, this looks bad for us. You got to go get Bichette."
Great. Either you're in the room with Cohen, or you're not.
Well, it's called the phone. They pick up the phone. That's all.
This is my.
I will say though.
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Ahead,
I will say though that Cohen did twist Stearns' arm the year before with the whole Pete Alonso thing.
Yes,
but he did.
So,
but that was different.
I mean, that's a possibility, but I don't know if.
That's all I'm suggesting.
I
I'm just suggesting it's a
evident that
possibility.
Cohen is letting Stearns run the team. Like
Exactly. It can't be both. It can't be only the bad things of Stearns and all the good things.
I never said that, but I'm not saying that.
Every time we do something.
Oh, the Met fan base is like that.
Cohen twisted the arm. No, I think Cohen has let Stearns run it. I think last year was. I think 2024 fucked everything up. They did not expect to have what they got. Okay, and they to go into 2025 after signing Soto, I think Cohen just is like, let's keep Pete for whatever. Trust me, if Pete had gotten the 5-year offer from Baltimore in 2025, he probably would have been gone. Okay, but he didn't have it, so they said, let's go. I do agree. Probably in that case, they went all in on 2025, probably more than they should have. But I think at this point, Cohen has turned it over to Stearns. And this is not an egg on the face. I think Stearns gets the credit or Stearns doesn't get the credit.
Well, it just doesn't jive with the players out of the position at first and third. That's
but I will give.
So when you have that,
right.
You have to question what the deal was there.
Yeah, this is where Stearns gets his credit because the story was he laid the groundwork at the winter meetings with Bichette. So the dialogue started. It's like, hey,
okay, I said that. But I'm saying the impetus to actually then pivot. Like, you could be in conversations with the guy for a year, right? But at that point, you got egg in your face.
And why
given that Stearns said, because they win, it was because
I think the fan base makes it feel that way.
No,
because it's necessary.
Well, that's what they're talking about. The fan base reaction to the team.
But you shouldn't care. It's a great player. You shouldn't care if it's a pivot or not. So what?
No, I'm not.
No, I don't even think it's egg on the face. You went for the guy, you didn't get him. Shit happens.
I agree.
Come on, you guys. The reaction in the media. The reaction in the media. The reaction media that for those 14 hours was the Mets suck. They don't know what they're doing.
All these media are full of shit because they're.
But it doesn't matter. That's the reaction.
Poetic this week.
You could say that, but that was the reaction.
Stearns
was the reaction.
Stearns is so great.
Yeah, all right. And they shot all over him. That's right.
Well, baseball's in love with the LA Dodgers, so I mean, let's just face it.
But the Diaz one
is going to kiss their butt.
I think the Diaz because Diaz looks like he specifically took an offer the Mets gave and went to the Dodgers and said, this is what they gave me beat.
Well, you got crapped on them for that one too.
And then he actually even made the statement that, it was easy to leave. Like, I want to win now. So he made even Tucker I didn't even hear him speak yet. I don't even know if the guy exists. Talk about Spencer Jones doesn't exist. Where's Tucker? The guy signs he gets more money than Judge. I haven't even heard him speak once. I don't see how much is egg on his face. I just think it was you went for him. You took a swing. Someone just threw more money. That happens all the time, year after year. Let's go into why now you got Bichette, you have Polanco, into what the topic is here.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Good. Exactly. Again, I'll bring us. You're asking the insane one to bring sanity. So that's really where we're off the rails.
Today, Ben. 2 saves.
Yeah, you have they're two good defensive players. You're just now asking them to Bichette to short to third, not such a big stretch. I think first base is. I do agree with Ray. It is a lot more nuanced to play that position than just catching the ball. Of course, I know Frank was just having fun there because even Alonso could catch it. He couldn't throw it. That was Alonso's problem. But I think it's
a little bit snarky with Pete.
Yeah. Your center field. You upgraded. Robert is a good center fielder. Bichette's
he's better than good. He's an excellent center fielder.
All right, look, I don't know. He's a White Sox. I didn't read the stats, so give me a break.
His D-WAR is the third best D-WAR in baseball.
Here we go, D-WAR.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, his D-WAR. So I think that I would be more worried about Polanco at first base than Bichette at third. That's the only concern that I have from players playing out of position is, him. And he's a good athlete. He's working on it, but I would have more concern about Polanco than Bichette.
Okay.
Oh, 100%. Because you've seen shortstops make that move to third base.
A-Rod did it. A lot
Correa.
of them did it. Ripken did it. Correa did it. It's doing it now.
Carlos, I think is there a rumor regarding Judge?
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, back to the Yankees. It's not Judge specifically, but there's a rumor that a major player on the Yankee team is looking into changing positions, is trying out, work at a new position. They wouldn't say who it was, but speculation is that it is Judge. Basically, because especially if you watch him at the end of the year, he's kind of throwing a little sidearm, right? Like
he had an elbow problem.
Right. His throws weren't there. So the guess is if you move him to first base, what would happen to Rice? Maybe Rice would catch because you have the outfielders. Maybe Jones will get a starting job, but Dominguez, who knows? That's certainly intriguing. I would like to see it, though. I'll tell you personally.
Well, he's the only major player they have, so it's got to be him.
I was like, yeah, who else could it be?
Yeah, right.
Well, I don't know. I
don't know. The wheel in my head turned.
I'm going to catch. I don't know.
Well, the second major player is Bellinger. We already know he plays every other position on the field.
Trade for Tatis in the works. Maybe that's why they want to move.
I can't. I heard that. I don't know.
Nice.
But I heard that Detroit offered Skubal for what was it? It was Schlittler.
Oh, they asked for everybody.
It was pretty much.
It's like,
Give them everybody. Give them everybody.
Tell them, I would do it. I wouldn't do it for Skubal.
But you see that offer?
Yeah.
When they lose the arbitration, they won't be asking for that.
No,
they don't want the $32 million in their books.
Correct.
I'd
make that kind of a move for Skeens, not for Skubal.
Skeens ain't going nowhere.
Do me a favor. Why do you got to rain on my parade?
Because you called me a Met fan.
Everybody knows that. You guys don't know this. When we go off the air, Carlos hits a button and everything behind him turns into all Met memorabilia.
I heard Skeens is going to the Mets.
They certainly could afford him, Frank.
By the Pirates. That's why.
Right. So I mean, I don't think that rumor is
it's not
outrageous. Yeah, it's not far fetched. I mean, Judge was hurt. He did hurt his elbow, and he hasn't. And
I would absolutely do it.
Isn't it the same injury that who's the first baseman on the Dodgers that was a third baseman? Muncy. Isn't it the same type of injury as Muncy?
Similar, yeah.
Remember,
he also didn't he break his foot in LA a couple of years ago, running into the wall, or his foot jammed?
I know, but Muncy was a second base.
He's not getting any younger, and
that's the thing. He
should move. Yeah,
right.
He's a big ass target.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like he's a good athlete. I mean, I would do it. It's either that or DH. I mean, I start to do more of that. You want to preserve as much. Like I said, he's got 2 years without an injury, which for him has been a big stretch. I would want to preserve it as much as possible. So,
agreed.
Well, you heard it here first, everybody, with the optimistic Meth Man and Diamondgeezers. Judge will be playing first base. Okay.
Hey, Ray, that's not a bad thing. I think we have to do that with a lot of our stuff.
I know, just to call it.
Yeah.
Who cares if we're wrong?
A hot take.
All right, so let's go on to our last segment, high AAV opt-out contracts, which basically I know that I researched this. The first time this really became an issue was actually not with the Mets with Scherzer, but earlier that year with the Dodgers and Trevor Bauer, where they signed him to a 3-year contract with an opt-out each year at I think $30-something million a year. So that's something that's been happening. Also we could add to this the idea of the deferrals. So the way I see it, I'll just comment on this, is that I don't know honestly if it's a short-term trend because of the lockout or not. Because I guess it all depends on how the lockout plays out. If there is no salary cap, then I think you will continue to see this high AAV opt-out trend. If there is a salary cap, then there's no need for it. But then whether there's a salary floor or not, we can get into. But it was fascinating. I did some deep research on this. The way the logic behind this stuff is that. How's that, Pete?
That's a euphemism for ChatGPT.
No, I actually ChatGPT, and then gave me sources to other things. It could have easily been. So you have to see it as, like, for instance, the Dodgers are going to land up paying $160, $170 million in taxes alone, right, going into next year because they're so over the cap. And they see it the Dodgers see something like that as the price to pay for getting a short-term contract that won't lock them into a long-term contract such that the guy doesn't perform at the end of his career. Okay? So the trade-off is we'll pay the 100. Sorry, I have a bad cold, everybody. The trade-off is we'll pay the $160 million for these various contracts that are lasting for 3 or 4 years, sometimes 2 or 3 years, because we know we're going to get the best of this player for the 2 or 3 years. We know we're going to get backloaded on heavy laden contracts that in the millions and millions of dollars that will far exceed the $160 to $175 million. And we get and we take the hit now at $175 million, $164 million for the avoidance of getting hit with a long-term contract where the guy's not performing as well as he ages. And that's the logic, from what I understand, behind these high AAV opt-out contracts. On the flip side, the player sees it as, and I heard Todd, the Todd father, Todd Frazier, he was talking on their show the other day. They asked him, what would you, if you had a chance to sign a short-term opt-out contract at a high AAV or a long-term contract? He actually said something that was, he said, I'd rather sign the long-term contract because it gives me stability. Said, but he said, and then he said, I'm the type of individual who doesn't like the idea of every 2 or 3 years I got to move my family or I got to go somewhere. I like to be just in one area. But he also admitted that most players do not think like him. Most players are like, well, screw it. I'm here to make the most money I can, and that's the understanding with your family. If you have a family, look, I'm going to bounce around. We're going to bounce around, but we're going to make tons of money. And so anyway, that's sort of the playing field here that we're dealing with. Any thoughts on what I just said?
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the issue really is not so much the AV in the short term. I think it's mostly the deferment. I think they're going to restrict that because when you defer someone like Ohtani on that money, then you have room, or capital to make those short, expensive deals. And I think they're going to look somehow to restrict all that deferment crap.
But then you're removing then you're really killing the idea of a high AAV opt-out contract.
I don't think owners really like this deferment stuff.
I don't think they're going to restrict the deferment. I think they're not going to allow the deferment to diminish the AAV. So what they're going to say is, you sign Ohtani for 10 years and $700 million. It's $70 million a year. You want to defer it for cash flow issues? You can do whatever you want.
That's a good or take a percentage of that and say it's going to be applied.
There you go.
And that's the logic behind Tucker getting. He got a $64 million bonus, some huge bonus.
Yeah,
but that gets spread out. Yeah. That gets the signing bonuses get spread out over the term of the guaranteed years of a contract. So it's not like they even get it with that.
But he gets the check in one shot.
Yeah, he does. But I'm saying the team gets to allocate it over that. So that's another way you say, you know what, those signing bonuses, they get hit, whether the full amount or percentage of the amount you get hit that first year. I think that would, you see, to me, that's the answer. The answer that Pete gave, the answer I just gave, that's the answer. I'm not one that believes in a salary cap. I don't think baseball is going down the tubes with the high salaries. Clearly, the owners can afford to pay the salaries. Just because the teams that don't want to pay it, they don't want to pay it, that's their choice. But they definitely have the money to buy. We went over this a couple of months ago. They have the money to get at least one, if not two star players. May not be a superstar, but a star player to build up their team. And by the way, and then I checked, out of the last 10 world championships, they were won by 8 different teams. Out of the last 20 world championships, they were won by 12 or 13 different teams. So this idea that, only the same teams are going to be at the top. The Yankees haven't won a championship in 2009, right?
Yeah, but the same teams get to the dance. That's the difference. It's the
same
what? Teams getting. It's predominantly the same teams getting.
It doesn't have to be like that. The only teams that don't get in the dance, by the way, are the teams that don't want to spend the money.
Okay, so here
the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Some of those teams can't spend the money, though, right? I
mean, they can. They have the money to spend, and they could take a different approach. By the way, like the Pirates, they have all these star players. They go to arbitration. They could afford every single player they have. O'Neal Cruz, Skeens. If they go to arbitration, they could afford it. They just don't want to spend the money. So and by the way, if there's the ones that complain most about a floor are going to be those teams because they don't want to spend the money. If they really want to, and if that's the case, then don't own a team. Get out of baseball and give it to somebody else that cares about the team. But sorry, go ahead.
I will say this. Number one, the biggest driver of player salaries has been arbitration. Okay, this either or thing of 32 million and 19 million, that kind of thing, has been the biggest driver. So if you eliminate arbitration or allow the arbitrator to
Make it mediation, right? Mediation would be a fair compromise.
they can pick a number or get rid of it. If you increase the penalties and you put in a floor, a minimum that has to be spent,
and you get rid of the deferments, right? You allocate deferments towards the contract.
I don't care about the deferments, but you have to count them toward the AAV, right?
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying what you said.
I don't care about the cash flow issues because that might help a team. Like
no. I'm saying what you said. It's right. You add that to the mix, and you add the signing bonus to the mix. If you do all those things, I think you're fine.
I think.
I'm sorry. That's a floor without a ceiling, Pete. That's what you want, a floor without a ceiling. I think
you could do a floor without a ceiling. But you can increase the penalty, and you can eliminate the AAV being lowered by the deferments. But I think the owners would have to give that something like maybe being able to spread out signing bonuses a little bit. Like there have to be there's got to be a give and take, right? If that's the final thing, the players would never.
If you're a team who doesn't want the floor, you're going to want, if you give in on the floor, you're going to want the ceiling on those big money teams, aren't you? If you're the Pirates and you're forced to spend to a floor, you're going to want the Yankees, Dodgers, Mets to be capped, that they just can't keep going wild.
Yeah, you're going to want to.
You're going to want a cap.
Well, here's the thing.
If I get a floor, you get a cap. Here's the other thing, really quickly, Pete. I think, Ray, if they're either way, I think I think there'll be a hybrid of this. Because if there's a cap and a floor, it may depend on where your situation is within that. So say if you're the Mets and you're pushing up against the cap, but you have you're right in that. And that's the way the other cap sports work. That's why a lot of those free agencies are quick, because you know what money you have to spend, and it's a frenzy as soon as it starts. So say the Mets right now, say they were 30 million under whatever the cap is. I know they wouldn't be where they currently are. I'm just hypothetically. And there was one guy out there, and he wants 27 million. Obviously, you need wiggle room to make moves throughout the year and stuff like that. You may say maybe this guy's only worth 20, 22. I'll go to a higher AAV, shorter contract because of where it fits in my cap. It could be, or flip that. Maybe I'm closer to the cap. I can't go high AAV, but I can go to a longer term contract with more money, but just lower AAV. So it will all depend on whether there's a cap and a floor, either if there's both. But I think both of them are here to stay. It'll just depend on what your circumstances financially if there's a cap and floor in place.
What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, no, taking all this in. I mean, it's all great points by you guys. I did read an article, though, that after the Tucker signing...
That we're wrong.
No, not that you're all wrong. It's that it's like you guys said. It's teams not agreeing on what the right thing is. But there is word that a lot of GMs and owners are upset at how the Dodgers operate. Now, I don't know if that's the deferral thing. I don't know. It could be. I mean, in my opinion, it could be with that whole Ohtani contract, that they're only technically towards the cap paying $2 million, and the other 68 is going into a fund for Ohtani when he retires. I think you do need to add that in to a team's salary for the year. That would kind of preclude maybe the Dodgers from doing the Tucker deal because, we got a, 70 million of our cap. That's, let's just pick a number, 350. Well, now I can't get Tucker for 60 because, I need to fill out a roster. I do think there's some point to that, but I do agree with you guys that it's going to take a lot of work for Major League Baseball not to have a lockout because, the players union want it to be fair for the players, but at the same time, you can't keep having guys like, we mentioned Skeens earlier in the show, that our conversation with him isn't him getting the Pirates back to glory. It's, who's he going to in 4 years? Me as a fan, even though I'm not going to be a hypocrite because the Mets get guys like that all the time, and so do the Yankees. But it would be nice to know, oh, in 2 years, we could see Mets versus Pirates in a division series instead of, well, is he going to the Yankees? Is he going to the Mets? Is he another guy that the Dodgers are going to get? I think that's more of what at least my issue is with, the way baseball is right now with the contracts. It's always the same 4 or 5 teams that you talk about that are in on the big free agents. It's never the Marlins. It's never the Pirates. It's never the White Sox.
Excellent.
You're right. So I've made the argument a few weeks ago, whatever it was, that the reason why I think this is going to be a big deal and there's going to be a significant lockout and blah, blah, blah is because the owners aren't on the same page. So now you need the time to get the owners on the same page, and then you have to go fight the players. However, after the Tucker signing, it seems as that the owners are a lot closer to being on the same page now, okay, than they were. And then the other thing I read, which was interesting, and I think I brought this up earlier because I don't know how this would work, but that if they were going to go for a hard cap or something like that, it would there'd have to be a transition time. Because I'd be like, how could you all of a sudden turn around to the Dodgers and the Mets and say, okay, we got a hard cap at $300 million. What are you gonna do? Just get rid of players? I mean, it's like, and that kind of, so that there'd have to be this transition time. So maybe the Tucker thing sort of got them on the same page. But Frank, the way to get around your issue, which I agree with you 100%, Skeen said it, Larry Bird writes, right? That in other words, only that team can pay the most amount of money. So only the Pirates can give you X. Anybody else is going to cap it.
Well, the Larry Bird rights allow you to go over the cap to sign your own.
That's what I mean. Right. So right.
But the other thing, that's Pete. But you did hit.
You mean over the cap? Just to be clear, sorry, so the fans understand. You mean over the cap without being penalized?
Correct. You
but,
don't get
luxury
you're
tax.
allowed to sign your own.
Correct.
I like how we call our followers our fans, but good.
You did bring up a great point because in basketball, when you're giving your guy a max contract, the team who has him can give him more than somebody trying to sign him away. So that's why you see sign and trades a lot in basketball, because what the team who owns him can give. Like, so if I have Skeens, I could give Skeens what they call max contracts, whatever that would be in baseball. A team signing him can't give him the same contract. It's usually a year less AAV, because the incentive is there to try to keep the player to stay with his team. So look, you have 2 cap sports that you can look to see, well, what worked, what didn't work.
Right.
These 2 sports.
Right. Yeah.
Pull from each of them and see what. Because I don't think either of those, like basketball added the first apron, they get a little more complicated with it. But there's things you can do. But these owners, and Ray, you brought up earlier, the owners who are complaining, they just don't want to spend. They have the money. We had the show where we showed that graphic where they have the revenue. They're bringing in. They may not bring in the same revenue as the Mets or the Dodgers or the Yankees, but the percentage of their revenue that they're reinvesting in their team, they're just not doing it.
They're also getting the tax money.
Yeah,
they're getting the tax money, and nothing stops them from doing deferments. The Pirates could do a Skeens deferment. They could say Skeens will pay this much money in defer.
Yes.
I mean, so I just don't buy it. Like I said, if there's that joke that was, I forget who made the joke, that Shaquille O'Neal is rich, but the guy that pays his check is wealthy.
That was Chris Rock did that.
That's Chris Rock, right? So these guys are rich. Yeah, okay.
Also, teams aren't. I don't think they're forced to show where the money goes.
Right.
So,
well, they're not subject to they have an antitrust exemption
from
that
floor,
stupid.
Like the Pirates prove, hey, we can't afford this.
Right, and nobody can prove it
really
because they're not like the other leagues. Right, the baseball holds a special place in Americana. That's pretty much the Supreme Court decision that permits them to get away with this bullshit. So anyway,
I think we solved the whole thing. We solved the whole problem.
We did.
You heard it here first.
Frank is now the commissioner of baseball.
The players union and owners need to watch this podcast before they start negotiating, and we'll take about 0.5%. We'll split up.
We'll have Tony Clark on. We'll have Tony Clark on soon.
Yeah, Tony Clark will be on soon.
Before we end the podcast, yesterday they came out, or I don't know, a couple of days ago, with the top 100 prospects
Yes.
And different things. So I love to go back and look at what the rankings of the prospects was before to see how they netted out. So the top, just real quick. So the top 10 prospects, 2020. Number 1, Wander Franco, which I forgot all about him. That whole career is Gavin Lux, Louis Robert, Adley Rushman, Mackenzie Gore, Joe Adell, Casey Mize, Nate Pearson, Royce Lewis, and Bobby Witt Jr. I guess out of all those, Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's by
Wander
far.
Franco's
Yeah,
by far,
most prominent. Yeah.
For the Mets, the top prospects: Ronnie Mauricio, number 1, second base, shortstop, outfielder; Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty, Matt Allen, who I loved when they signed him and was hoping, but one injury after
Really
another.
unlucky with the injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the number 5 was Vientos, and then it goes. David Peterson is 9, and then I never even heard of these players. The Yankees, back in 2020, number 1 prospect Jason Dominguez, Clark Schmidt, Devi Garcia, Oswald Perez, Luis Gil, Estevan Florial. I guess he's out of baseball now. Alexander Vizcaino, out of baseball, and number 9, your favorite guys, Anthony Volpe.
But
So,
By the
one
way-
thing I
by the
noticed
way,
on
what's-
those lists, if you look at those lists, it's usually guys lower on the list who
that's
any
where
list.
I like to look and see.
Yeah.
which
It's
one.
usually the lower guys.
That 2020 list. Okay, what?
All I'm thinking about right now is
Uh-oh.
the group of people that have nothing better to do in their life, and you probably encountered this, Frank. They're going to go on TikTok and criticize Pete for saying Louis Gill.
Luis
And they're going
Gil.
to say,
Hell, whatever. I don't
yeah,
care.
no, I know, but this is what I mean.
Oh yeah. They'll
Yeah,
criticize
it's
how you
like
say things.
incredible.
I was doing my
That-
podcast the other day, and somebody criticized me for saying City Field when I was supposed to say Shea Stadium back in '99,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
like, oh, give me a break. I was
Yeah,
deep in
really.
my thought.
Oh,
You
tell-
know.
Well, Pete's a resident of story. That's good stuff, Pete. That's good stuff.
2020.
Yeah, that was really cool,
Number
man.
4 prospect of Major League Baseball, Jared Kelnick.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah.
never amounted, right? That's
Yeah.
well. Remember
That
how
was
pissed off we
Seattle
were
now?
about that? Yeah.
2022, they finally woke up and said Bobby Jones, for fuck's sake.
Bobby Jones.
Bobby
He
Anthony Volpe creeped up to number 8, Francisco Alvarez, number 10. I don't know. I like to look at them and say, well, let's see how right they were.
They
Yeah.
usually it's not. It's just
But
like
you see,
the
that
NFL
goes to the
draft.
position we were talking about before. That the odds are against these guys becoming everyday star ball players. So,
Right. Are you the odds even making it, let alone star?
but that's overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall. So I just wanted to throw out before we let Frank address the last thing. Frank, well, actually, you could address this. What do you think about Carlos Beltran getting into the Hall of Fame, but not coming out immediately saying, "I want to go in as a Met"?
That's interesting. I think that he should, but again, it's that debate of, is it? Well, it can't be the Houston Astros or the.
No,
or
it's
the
more
Giants,
him.
right?
Like more him not saying,
It would
I
only
wanna
be
go in
Kansas
as a Met.
City. That's
Oh,
the
more
only
of him?
other option.
Yeah, like him not, it's sort of a slight to the Mets fans, like him not coming out and say, "I want to go in as a Met." He was asked the
A
question.
little
He
bit.
goes, "Well,
Do players see? I don't usually watch those. Those are not like the player coming on and saying thank you and all this other stuff, saying where he's going to go. Do they usually say that right away, or is that something that
They
they
asked
wait
him.
on?
They usually want to.
Or is this
They-
something that he kind of was
they
asking?
asked,
and he
they
dodged
asked him.
it?
He didn't come out and say, "I want to go in as a Met." He was hedging on that, right?
Well,
Pete?
I still have an issue with him not swinging at that curveball. So,
right, right.
Ah,
Right.
I mean, it is what it is.
Well, we go back further. I said when he was competing, before he signed with the Mets, everybody knows this. He made a phone call to the Yankees, he and his agent, to see if the Yankees would take him on, and that was like that put a little sourness on the whole signing with the Mets. Like, wait a second, you didn't want to sign with us, you still want to go with the Yankees? I understand logically why he would want to do that because the Yankees were the Yankees back then, but it was egg in the
Yeah, and
face.
the Mets
I
were the
think.
Mets back then. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
And then exactly looking at that curveball and the most important moment of his career as a Met.
which, you know what? I had that debate for years with my friends. I was never really a Carlos Beltran guy. I was more of a Carlos Delgado, David Wright, Jose Reyes type of fan. But looking back at it, my earlier shows that I did, which everybody could look back on, please, all the fans that are watching on YouTube.
Yes.
I did a Mount Rushmore of every position. I think Pete would definitely appreciate this, and Ray, of every position, not just like overall Mount Rushmore, but I did left field, center. And when I got to certain positions like center field and third base and shortstop, I had to add in guys that you might not want to on a Mount Rushmore. So Carlos Beltran was definitely underappreciated as far as with the Mets, especially position wise. I think now, you just hope that we can get another center fielder like him. I mean, we're always comparing, we need a center fielder that's, the last one we had was Carlos Beltran. And how many freaking years ago was that? Like 20?
Yeah, he got attacked a lot. Did you guys see he got attacked a lot this week on certain podcasts? Not because of that, it's because of the whole cheating thing with the Astros.
The garbage can. Take the garbage can and the
Really quick.
No. That's a fair point.
It's a fair compared to Bonds, like which cheating was worse, and the poll for sure when I was shocked. Beltran's was worse than what Bonds did because they were the reasoning behind it was you were actually, it was like the unfair advantage where you're literally calling pitches for your hitters in the game with whatever you were doing with the drum. This guy where someone was taking PED. So look, anybody could get, if you want to get to an end result, you can just bullshit your way there. I was shocked to see it. Have you guys seen it, or what do you guys think of that?
No, what I was going to say on that front is that what really I think got, I don't know if I didn't see, but the fan reaction. Yeah. But I remember sitting there watching the announcement and listening to the guy from the National Hall of Fame, the National Baseball National. I don't know what the fuck the name of the place is.
Writers Association.
Right. No. The guy from the Hall of Fame. He's right. So he's announcing. We base this decision on the following qualities. And one was honesty, integrity in the game. Right? And the other one was something else. The other one was something sort of an offshoot of that.
Sportsmanship.
And I sat there and I said to myself, well, Beltran's not getting it. Right. And then he says the first name was Beltran. Right. Sorry.
Hold on a second. What is the difference? And I'm not promoting what they did. What they had a camera out in center field, okay, and they had somebody figure out what the signs were, and then relay the signs.
But no. It was, they actually had the video where somebody was showing this. So how coordinated it was, because as soon as the sign goes down, if it's a fastball, there was no drum. But if it was an off-speed pitch, the drum was immediate, so that the hitter had time to. They actually showed it, Pete, real quick. Where the pitcher, I think it was the White Sox, he catches on, he hears this drum and calls the catcher out, and he's mouthing to him, and they think he's saying they're signaling my pitches. Right. So the next pitch, he puts down for a fastball, but it's an off-speed pitch, and the guy swings right over it.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, what is the difference between that and when coaches or players picked up the signs sitting in the dugout, which they were.
Chaz Chisholm did it last year during the Yankee game. Yeah, okay. Sorry to cut you off, Pete, but yeah, Chaz Chisholm got into an argument with I forgot what team it was, but was tapping his leg or some crap like that.
Yeah,
every time he couldn't pitch.
And the Subway Series from a few years ago with Lindor and Javier Baez.
If the coach figured out what the signs were, he told us what it was, and so we would know. Pull on our jersey at second base if it's a fastball. Okay, so they bang the drum. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying
there's a difference.
Different thing.
But it's different. I'm on the field.
I think that they're using the electronic device.
You're using.
That's what it was.
You're using technology, using a camera, and it's not like every time he puts his glove this way, he's tipping his pitch or something. I catch where I'm signaling you.
Well, the San Francisco, the New York Giant player sitting sitting out in center field with binoculars when they figured out the sign for Ralph Branca. Okay, signaling to Bobby Thompson what was coming. I mean, so you use binoculars, and it was
that was the technology at the time. Binoculars.
That was the equivalent. That would have been the equivalent. Yeah.
What I'm saying though is that I get it. Don't get me wrong. It's bad. I'm glad they don't. But let's not get carried away with this. They used equipment because they could do that. If the coach had figured it out sitting in the dugout, would that have? And then they bang the drum. That's okay. But because they used I just want to get
use of technology.
Don't compare it to PED.
Yeah, but now baseball can't figure out batteries, so that way the thing in the guy's helmet don't turn off and he can't hear the call.
Yeah.
But I think what Ray said is right.
They got to figure that out. I mean, that's getting annoying with all the breaks in the game.
Honesty and integrity, and then all of a sudden,
right?
The first guy you announce is a guy who was accused of cheating. It doesn't. I'm just saying, Pete. It's even.
It's not. It's not the same as PEDs.
No. But really quickly, even Canseco came out this past week. I don't even know the guy's still around. Did you see that?
No.
He said that he said that I know. He goes, there were people in the hall that I know took PEDs. So his position is either put them all in or don't put any of them in. And that's kind of what you said, Pete. Right. Yeah, his is like either put them all in or don't put any of them in. Yeah. So to me, put them. If you were worthy on what you did on the field to be in the hall, I don't care if you're going into your own wing, and put them in, and then let society debate it out.
Here's the one question, and I got to bail. But here's the one question: how do you know they would have been worthy had they not taken the PEDs? People talk about Barry Bonds, blah blah blah. If so and so's career fell apart after this point, and it was PEDs that kept him going,
right?
How do you know? That's the problem. You don't know.
Yeah, but just to say PEDs alone enhance. I mean, because every bodybuilder to be a great, baseball.
You
have to have the skill
every day.
Yeah.
You
have to have the skill.
Play every day. That's the problem.
Before we say goodbye, this is all this. For those of you who want to find out more about the story of the Houston Astros and the whole business, there's a great movie called "Bang the Drum Slowly."
Oh, shut up!
That has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Worst movie ever.
So, Frank, thank you very much for joining us. We are honored to have you on.
Thanks, Frank.
You did a great job.
Guys.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun.
Anything you want to close off with, Frank, before we end our podcast?
You got the last word.
Yeah, I do want to mention on my next show, I am going to do a deep dive into the Met roster and where they can go. And also, I'm going to do my Prospect Watch episode on some prospects that are kind of under the radar, not household names. So look forward to that. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. That's something that
Right up my alley.
Right. You may not want to get Pete on as a guest for that. That sounds good. All right. Well, with that, thanks everybody. You did a great job. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this again, Frank. We'd love to be able to do this again.
Oh yeah, I would love to do another one with you guys. Yeah, this was fun. Yeah.
You ever do any live streams from a ball game or anything like that?
No. So my work schedule didn't work out last season, but now that my work schedule is a little bit different, I'm going to be thinking about maybe doing some Friday night games where I can go on live and maybe some live watches. But we'll see how everything works out.
We'll definitely follow you for that. We won't be doing that. We'll still be just doing a set.
Bitching as usual.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for liking and subscribing and viewing our podcast. We appreciate it. We appreciate Optimistic Met Fan. Make sure to follow him on TikTok, YouTube, and X. Now, as we go, remember always, we are the Diamondgeezers except for one. And you are not.